Hey guys, now we are going to get into the really fun stuff, really looking at the different phyla. Okay, so the other day we talked about the order. So King Philip came over from Great Spain. We are going to focus on the animal kingdom, and then after kingdom comes phylum. So we're going to study 8 of them today, and then we'll study a separate one later that we'll dive deeper into. Okay, so Animalia, that's what we're in, the animal kingdom. Phyla, an example would be Arthropoda. King Philip came, that'd be class, Diplopoda. Order, family, genus, and species. That's just an example. Okay, so here are two. This is a centipede and a millipede. Notice that they're all in the same animal or the same kingdom, phyla, and then they go into different classes, and then they kind of split from there. Okay, so remember that animals are eukaryotic cells. They're multicellular, and they're heterotrophic by consumption, which hopefully we all remember that. Okay, so actually the majority of animals on Earth are invertebrates, and that's kind of we're going to focus on the different phyla of invertebrates, where later in the week we will do notes on just vertebrates. Okay, so they're broken into 9 phyla. Again, we're just going to study the 8 today, and then we'll study the other one later. Okay, so the first phyla is Porifera. These are the very simplest animals. They're asymmetric. So if you were to do a line down the middle, it would not be the same on both sides. Okay, they filter feed through their pores. Okay, so they filter feed through their pores. They're sessile, meaning they don't move. And so examples are sponges. Okay, so the Porifera phyla is going to be all your different type of sponges. And yeah, it's kind of hard to think that they're animals, but sponges are actually animals. Obviously, they're invertebrates that we're talking about. Okay, so there's some examples. Okay, next phyla is Cnidaria. These have radial symmetry. When we mean radial, like if you were to look at a circle, you could draw like even lines from the circle into the middle that we would see. They have stinging cells. You can probably guess what these are. Example, coral, jellyfish, and sea anemone. And to kind of help you remember, this is really lame, but it's Cnidaria to touch it. Cnidaria to touch it. Okay, so some examples, we got some coral here, sea anemone, jellyfish. So again, radial would be like if you're coming from the center and I made lines going across, it's the same, you can split it evenly all the way across. Where that's different from asymmetric, where there's nothing even. Okay, next one is mollusk. They are soft-bodied with a skeletal shell, no joints, bilateral. So this time it means if we were to cut a line down the middle, it'd be the same on both sides. Example here, snails, clam, octopi, and squid. And it's kind of hard to think of an octopus or a squid with like a skeletal shell, but they do have an inner shell, like up here. Okay, these are our mollusks. Okay, this one's fun to say, Echinodermata. They have spiny skin. Again, radial symmetry coming from the center. Outer skeletal shell. Example, starfish and sea urchins. Okay, this one also is fun to say, Platyhelminthes. And guys, this is how you remember this one, Platy-flatty. Platy-flatty. These are our flatworms. Bilateral symmetry, cut it down the middle, it's the same on both sides. They don't have any segments, so it's like one continuous thing. No body cavity. Example here are tapeworms and flukes. You guys remember tapeworms, dogs have a hard time with getting these. Okay. There's going to be 3 classes of worms, so this is where it gets a little complicated, but remember platy, flatty. Okay, here's a tapeworm. Now these are the flukes. Okay, I kind of think they're cute. I know it's kind of gross, but they kind of float around. Like they're really fun to watch. If you're interested, look up a video of flukes, but they're really cute. Okay, nematoda. These are our roundworms. So think O-toda, round with an O. That's all I could come up with that one. Okay, bilateral symmetry. No segments again. They just kind of have a mouth and an anus. That's really all there is to the worm. These are our pinworms, our heartworms, our hookworms. Okay, remember the pinworms? That's what children get very easily. That when you shine a light, they do come out of the anus. Hookworms, cats get that. I think when we first got our cats, they had hookworms, and then you just have to take parasitic medication. So there's some roundworms. There's one in a heart. Okay, and this is our last class of worms, annelids. These are segmented worms. You can actually see like little segments on them. They do have a body cavity, a mouth and an anus, and these would be your earthworms and your leeches. So you can see how there's different segments here. There's actually lines, especially on earthworm. That's kind of the best example. They have actual segmentation. Okay, arthropoda. This one's fun. They have an exoskeleton. So think exoskeleton, when you step on it, it squishes. Where endoskeleton, it'd be kind of like soft and then make a squish noise. They have bilateral symmetry. Jointed appendages, so things like wings, legs, arms. They do have segmentation bodies. This is the largest animal phylum. There's a lot of different things that are going to be in this category. Okay, so we have insects. There's your big one. We have tons of different insects. Spiders, lobster, crabs. They're all in the arthropod. So here's some examples here. Okay, and then we'll start this back up later this week.